Hello.
Hey everyone, just want to do a quick sound check if someone can confirm in the chat that the sound is being received clearly. Stryker is already sharing his desktop, so I just want to welcome you all to this first webinar presentation. We're going to be covering the NFP news release live. Just a quick introduction to Stryker. He's a very good friend of mine. We've worked together a lot over the course of the last few years. He's a very prolific analyst and author, a market veteran with over 12 years experience, and he learned his craft in the trenches. He specializes in short-term day trading strategies. His analysis is based on trendline analysis, and we share a similar approach and methodology to charting, in the sense that we're looking for support and resistance levels using trendline analysis, and it's a hold and breach methodology. So I'm going to hand over to Stryker. He'll take over the presentation from here, share his charts, outlining his expectations for the important levels over the coming news release, and if it ends up being a volatile session, we might see some very significant moves today. Just a quick reminder that the webinar presentation today is being provided for entertainment and educational purposes only. Trading Forex and CFDs carries with it a high degree of risk. You should never trade more than what you can afford to lose. And of course, make sure you're following the right people for that education and advice. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Stryker and he'll take over from.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. As you've been briefed out, basically what I do is get involved more into intraday setups that I deem fit to go and trade based on trendline analysis. And before I go and start off, I do want to tell you a little bit about myself in terms of I carry a very unorthodox style of trendline or plotting on the charts using trend lines. But the motto and the key word is that the trend lines, to best define them, why we do that or why we deem necessary that, there are so many other indicators available, tools to trade, why this one particular would be much more effective. Simple. Trend lines plotted on a candlestick chart basically light up the path for the price to travel. And before I go any further, I want to define trend line analysis as nothing more than being able to depict channels within where the price will go and travel along those lines. So those lines, basically, as has been told, they are significant support and resistance from where a trader can take position, depending they want to go short, depending they want to go long. And I don't want to bore you all with the talk, so I'll just get down to the itty-bitty thing of the heart of the trend analysis, the technical analysis itself. So, as I said, trend lines is basically being able to define your path, being able to define channels. So there are so many channels. We'll start out with this, and what I'll do is every time I draw something, I'll plot a trend line. I'll define to an extent why it means something to me. So I'll take that out, I'll take that out, and I'll take that out. Initially, this trend line has been coated down in a black color, and this is my main breakout trend line. That's mean I expect if this is a temporary top out here, then the price needs to retest at least to this trend line. And the reason for that is simple. There is a top connection. Here is a breakout, a retest, and a new higher than from where it dropped in. So that means this is a kosher trend line. Kosher means basically something that I can turn around to in case if I see there's a temporary top going on here, the price needs to come down and retest it. So with the same mentality, when it broke the price here, it made a high 1270 something, came back, retested, and then gone in for a new high. Now is eventually trying to come back. So hopefully, depending on the numbers, how the number comes in on the NFP, if we end up getting a 30 minutes close underneath to this trend line, or let's say in about half an hour time, if there's a close coming below 1130, I'll shift down to the sell side. That's mean I would see the market going on the lower side. So first attempt on the lower side would be simple. Will be to take out this low, the low that was posted in before we had a we had a breakout. Similarly, the price comes in NFP, as we all know, it gets very volatile depending on the numbers and the market sentiment. We can have a spike down here. You know, usually on NFP or hard hit news, we get spike downs or spikes up. Basically, the first fall move ended up being a fake move. It used to happen a lot 2-3 years back, and we used to trade profoundly. You know, whenever the spike is, just go counter with that move, and you know it used to work out. Lately, their moves are more solid, more volume based. So if it turns around, if it breaks, chances are it'll continue. As of right now, in terms of if I'm looking to buy euro, my buy point would be, and I know when it comes down on the news, there won't be any attempt to take down the entry, so I'll probably going to place my buy orders to around. And this is right now has been told that this is only for more of educational purpose, not describing, not indicating in any way possible that you should be doing that, but showing the concept of trend line analysis and you know how we do it. I would have my buy orders placed down here somewhere around 1135, 1137, and all I'll be hoping for is a spike down here and then hold down and then push back up. So push back means the last significant high has been 1240s and a change. So we'll look for a move on the higher side that would confirm that you know I'm sitting on the correct direction. And since it's a retest to the same breakout trend line, I would hope for a newer higher than this. It can be 1 pip higher, 2 pip higher, unless I've got a set target already based in. Then I would try to go for that. So for purpose of let's say we get a spike down here, we end up getting a buy, it takes out those highs, so we can start looking for probably a new higher. You know, being NFP can pretty much do that. So what would be my targets based on that? So that's where I come down on the bigger time frames, and I go around and I charting. So now all I have to do is again get down into a motion where I get to know my channels. So I have this trend line coming in like that. I've just joined one top with another top. I'm ignoring what I'm doing. Sorry, what I'm doing out here. What I'm doing out here. I'm totally ignoring the spikes up. There's another concept. If we have time, I will define that. The reason I'm ignoring the spikes, this almost 4 or 5 candles out there, or let's say about a 20 hours 22 hours price spend, on top of this trend line, I'm ignoring that because it was not able to maintain it and it dropped back in again. So to me, this is a rejection. To me, this trend line still holds weight. That's mean if the price comes back on the higher side, I'll still be looking for this trend line. If I want to go, if I have a feel that this is the top, and I'm looking for a good healthy retrace back to get into shorts, then this is my line. Then this would become about 1336, 1340 zone. That would be my zone. So 1325 to 1335. That would be my prime entry to go short if I consider that we have a significant top or a temporary top for that matter is already placed in, and I will try to go in and look for spikes, or this being an NFP, I'll look for a spike out here, and I know by the time the price comes in, there won't be any time to get into the price, into the trade. So I'm probably going to have a very small order, of course, it being an NFP, I'll have a very small order place out here to go short in assumption that this will again hold out and we drop back and continue lower than that. So let's, for example, consider that this goes and this level holds. So what should be my target out there? The easiest way to do is, instead of going and try finding another trend line out here, what I do is I take this trend line and I go around parallel to it, because the best channels you get, if these two trend lines, they are almost parallel to each other. Almost parallel means, I mean, there is a difference of 1920 out there, but then apparently uh, once you practice and practice more, you get the idea on that. So if I come down, what I'm trying to do is trying to get this, something like this. I'll go with this. And as I said, I'll discuss why am I doing that. Why am I picking that? So once I got that, I take the parallel trend line out. I'll still go with main trend line. So I've taken this, I've ignored out here, and I've basically connected this trend line with this thing. The reason is simple. Here is a breakout. Here is a breakout. Price close higher, almost retested. It spiked down, but still stay higher and gone higher. Retest it, and again, a good breakout means retest and a new high. So this is a new high. But again, in conjunction with that, we have this trend line that has given me a false breakout out here. So again, if I'm looking to sell from here, this becomes my prime target, or let's say 1106 or whatever the zone is. This becomes my prime target for that. If the price drops any further than that, then of course, all you have to do is get down and start looking for something else, and you're more likely to find it. I find this one interesting out here, something like this. Small spikes here and there have been ignored, totally ignored. So this becomes your reference, and again, this is a 4-hour chart. And to streamline more how to go around doing business is you get down onto a smaller time frame charts, and then you go about drawing other trend lines, see how the channels are coming up. So if in this case, if this is my trend line, so, and in case this breaks lower, the next would be somewhere around, actually it would come significant lower. So that's mean if we break, start closing under I would say 1130 or 1125, I can see the price probably heading down all the way down to 109 figure. Apparently, because this is 30 minutes, the more we go along, 2 or 3 days ahead, this dropping, declining, it would go around to that part. So this is just an assumption. This is just a technique. How you draw. You need to pick your first trend line that makes all the sense to you. And what you do is you start drawing, if you're in the same zone, you start drawing other trend lines accordingly. So if I would have to pick a resistance out here based on this trend line, I would go with this. But again, this being an NFP, I will not take a chance on a 30 minutes time frame looking for support and resistance apart from this trend line, because this is a true breakout. And moreover, we can see the same thing here. We jump on a 2-hour chart, looking out at a breakout. It's the same thing. It's all about channels. So that's mean just again the same thing as a 30 minutes chart. This is on the 2 hours, and a conjunction channel along with that, again, it brings down to 109. So if we are trading below 1125 or we are closing the day below 1125, 1130, there's a very high probability that the price is coming down for 109, close to 109 figure. And again, on the higher side, I'll look for I'll look for 1330, 35, or let's say, for argument's sake, 1340 plus close for it to turn bullish. That's mean this was not a spike up, but there were some fundamental factors that probably caused this drop in, and British pound and the elections, and euro pound taking a big hit, and euro cross is dropping. Uh, they were actually looking in for a relief rally on that. That would make sense. So if it can back up, it means business. So that business would probably, my guess would be, able to take it down easily to 1500 level. I mean, that's another assumption we can go and chart. Time is short, and I want to cover more pair. Euro, seems like everybody wants to trade euro, so it's always good to go and start defining your first pair being a euro. I'm more profound into doing into crosses. I do crosses a lot. This was our pick today. Uh, Again, it's all about channels. It's all about channels. We shot it 42.20. We were looking for somewhere around 41, 40, 41, 45 before the NFP, being a good profit taking. And now I'm going to take this out. I'm just going to leave this two in. I just drew on the same, this is the same concept what I covered on the 4 hours out there, that I was ignoring the prices on the top for a reason, because mostly the price from here has been trading on the lower side. That's mean there was a shift of power to the higher side, briefly came down, came back up, and then started staying down. So this was the attempt where either it was back on the higher side or it's coming down for this zone. So the reason for pick is simple. At least to me, it's simple. I just need a smooth connection where I get some touches, and in a way that I can ignore the rest of the price action. Because if you look on the bigger time frame, as in 4 hours, this was our actual entry yesterday at 43.48, and this is the channel that I was looking for. So again, you can plot more trend line in between. You can conduct a lot of things in between, but the main thing is that this becomes my resistance. This becomes my support. I mean, I've ignored this spike down here. That's been, if it spiked down here again, closes on the higher side, rest assured, I'll turn bullish on that, because apparently the channel is bullish. So apparently, if it comes down to about 41.10 plus minus 510 pips, that's a support zone out here. So tests are here, and if it start bouncing up, it's basically, again, it's a buy, because the channel overall is a buy. And again, the same concept, here. I've taken this, merged it out with this thing, with this trend line here. I've ignored this. I've totally ignored that, because it was a very short span of a price that that stayed on the higher side and broke out. Again, came down higher, and you could have actually measured these trend lines are here. It's like this. So again, I've taken, as I told you, this is a very unorthodox style of trading. At times it becomes difficult for me to go and explain, but the way, and I know there's a few of my trainees also sitting out there in this webinar, they know better. Uh, the concept is, this is something that I've learned over the span of 10, 12 years, and I never see price on the charts, I mean, on the trade station. I always see price on the charts, and I work charts up on all time frame. This is a pair euro odd, and I have 2 hours all lined up. All right. This is a trend line that I consider has been a decent breakout. We almost missed a buy from here by a few pips. Anyways, I'm not going to go on that details. So apparently right now a bounce means it needs to cover. If this is a decent bounce, this is the initial breakout, this is a retest, this bounce should get a new high to that. We almost came close to it, but we did not manage it. So that's mean higher potential is that this still can do one more test out here. It can still do one more test out here. So if I'm trading the pair euro out for the day, and in 2 minutes, I'll be willing to buy 4096, 4100, 4105. So 4090 to 4100, that would be my buy entry zone. My target would be around, I would say 4350, 4355. But at the same time, this would be counter up from here. That's mean I've got a high, I've got a retest, I've got a new high in, and if it's not closing on the higher side, that's mean I have to sell again. And now this sell, and I have a higher probability that's going to break down here. So if I'm a long-term trader, if I want to sit on a price for a longer term, my entry next high to this over to somewhere around here, I'll sell with an assumption that it's going to break down here and carry well below this lows. So that's a potential of about I would say about 600-700 pips rally out there. And I know everybody's eager right now, and in less than a minute we have NFP hitting up. So I'll take an opportunity and I'll go around. If this was a normal scenario, I would have said sell here, buy here, or buy the breakout. But this is not a normal scenario, so I will use my peak point. That's mean 4095, 4100. I would have no problem buying it out because I know from there my stops are smaller. At the same time, I get a head down for 4030. I mean, a new high to what we saw yesterday. I would be willing to sell it. Let's see how Euro is doing because the NFP has already hit the rounds. On a normal occasion, I would have, this would be my scalp shot out here. Mentality goes short with the scalp in mind, right? But if it starts performing well, then then this becomes my target. But this is NFP, and on NFP, it's all about getting into with the prime levels and nothing beyond that. And your entries needs to be small. I was expecting much more action than this. Anyways, coming down to, I know a lot of people there, they like to do gold. So I'll do a sketch on gold. I've already done it actually. Again, the same concept. Ignore the spike. Look for a streamlined trend line. Initial. This has been my, this is what I consider support. So buy towards here, and to make your range, I think, yeah, something like that. Well, I have a trend line. So this is a median. Basically, by median I mean nothing more than, if I get a close 4-hour close on the higher to that, that's mean I will look for a retest down to here. And if I want to go, I mean, if I'm a buyer on this pair, I will try to go along with the target of 1202, 1203. At the same time, if it's closing underneath, then this becomes my target. And for let's say if it ends up closing underneath to that, then what would be my target? Let's say it's not only closing underneath that, but actually taking out those lows. Then this is something that helps me a lot. I'll look for trend line that connects like this, or would it be this one? Yep. I would have no problem, no hesitation whatsoever if the price comes to it today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, whenever. I would have no hesitation buying that, and I can easily take it down for this target. I would have no hesitation whatsoever. This is some of the most. This is something that I've seen over and over again. When it comes down, when you have a pattern like that, you got a support broken down, and how many times have you seen it? There's a good there's a good support broken down only to counter back, and the price goes all the way back up. These are what I call usual suspect trend lines. These are, while people are looking for this as support, I'm actually looking at this for support. It might be declining, which only means that this becomes in a channel like that, something like that, which means every bounce has a potential of quite a healthy pip run, quite a healthy pip run. Of course, you can do a lot more in between. You can break the. Okay, I'll show you something. It's all about break the. Okay, I'll show you something. It's all about breaking down into finer parts. It's all about now, instead of having a bear channel, I've got a falling wedge, which automatically means next strike out here has got a higher potential of it break down. But once it breaks down, this does not become the main channel. So the main channel would be still bear channel, and it would apparently, if I have, it would apparently come on something like this. So this indicates me it can probably come down, probably come down here. But every time it comes down here, it's more of a buying opportunity till it hits this. Then again, unless it closes underneath, that's a different story. Then this is not just bearish. This is heavily bearish. That means you sell as hard as you can. That means I would do that, of course, reasonably, with stops in. With proper money management and everything. I know every trader is different, but then there are some setup where you do want to go and gun hard, and which are things like this, support like that, or resistance like that. If you get a break underneath and any retest back to it, that's the time when you want to take a chance out there, and because once the move matures up, you won't get time to enter back into short because it'll just keep on dropping. So these are just a small aspect of what trendline analysis are, and the best thing I can describe about trendline analysis is that when somebody throws a chart at you with the trendline analysis or the plotting done via trendline analysis, he or she should not be explaining too much about the charts. The charts should be able to tell the story all by itself. That's mean anybody with a little bit knowledge about trendline analysis, it should be enough what the person done the charts is trying to tell here. It becomes that easy. It should be self explained out, and that's that's what I believe good charting is. Lay it out for someone to view in such a way that you do not need to explain too much. What I'm explaining out here is just a little bit, just a twitch on the technique of how you do it. What are you looking for? Let's say we break it down into smaller time frame. Now it looks like a big move. I'm ignoring this price action that is carrying on right now. I'm just trying to break down a 15-minute chart. If I want to do some short-term trades, what I'll be looking for, what are my channels and all. So this becomes my resistance. So on a normal day, if I was trading, I would have got short here. I've done this chart right in front of you right now, and the price is just carrying on right now. You know this is a good trend line. It just spiked up. Ignore it. Ignore it. That was just some stop hitting, whatever. Ignore it. It came up. It closed under. Again, it came back. Even hit higher. It's again is trading on the lower side. So this becomes my trend line. My next trend line would be, again, I'll just take this. So my first assumption would be at this, anything close to here, I need to take profits. I'm a short-term trader. I'm not sitting in for days or weeks or months. So anything close to here, if I have, let's say, example, if I have got 100K riding out here, I'll be more than willing to take out 50 to 60% of my life, or 50 or 60K right around to this vicinity. And if I see a break and a close under, I might add a little bit more, and I leave the one that's been taken up from here for the maximum target. So the maximum target would be, of course, this being the maximum target, but let's say I've just basically connected these two lows, these two bases in 1178, 79. That would be the thing that I'll be looking again to back most of my shots off, and then if I'm feeling lucky that if I'm feeling there's a further break coming in, I can leave a little bit portion on with an assumption that if we close under and we get a retest back to this trend line, we go short again all the way down here. So this is all, again, it comes down to all, trend line analysis comes down to all patterns. It's all about patterns. You got triangle, you got a wedge, the smaller part, call it a triangle, call it a pennant, then you got a wedge, then, take T1 and T3, then you have a bigger channel, which is your bear channel right now. So start off with this. If it breaks lower, then start off with the wedge, bounce back up, then take this out. Then you don't need that, because then this is the main channel out here. You wait for a break higher, and then you look for touchdown towards here and take your profits. And let's do US dollar. So I know this looks dirty. I've been using this chart as a reference for a very long time, and I know a lot of people ask me, you take tops and then you take tops and then you take lows, and there is no head to toe about it. And I just tell them, if it works, if it's not broken, why fix it? As I said, I I do not chart like other people do. For me, it's all about, it has to be streamlined. It means something, and if you look at it again, tops broken, retest, high, come back, retest, failed, retest. So this is, I'm looking for 1 or 2 4-hour closing underneath before turning bearish on dollar. Otherwise, I feel this is still bullish. I'm just giving you in conception of what trend lines are, because what it tells you is that don't go and feel about how you feel about, or don't carry a bias. Do what they tell you, because that's why you're plotting them. Do what they're telling you. Don't go and don't go and do things that you think should be happening, but follow what is happening based on the charts that you're seeing, that you have drawn yourself. And I have shared this chart a long time back, that not till, again, the same thing, 4 hour closes underneath. This would be my confirmation on a daily. If we close under this, then this is this can turn nasty for dollar. This can turn very bad for dollar. Otherwise, uh, two attempts have already there. Sorry, yeah, two attempts have already been there. So maybe the third might be a charm, and this gets lifted off. Uh, 8 hours, almost the same picture. It's all about having one trend line and then following. Of course, we don't trade dollar, but most of the majors, in condition to that, it helps you that, the major USD. I mean, dollar is pumping out here. I don't have to look at a euro. I don't have to look at other major pairs. I know they might be dropping. They would be dropping. That brings me to the topic. Where is euro doing right now? How close or far it is from 1130? On a normal day, this I would have sold within mentality of scalp, and if you start maturing, stay put. Again, this becomes my target. And it's been an NFP already 15 minutes into it. My guess right now, again, I need not to guess, but based on the trend line that I see, my guess is that we come close to it, we're probably going to get a buyout from here. So personally, me, anything close to here, I would not mind me turning buyer and see how it goes. Of course, my kind of trades, they don't carry too much of a stop loss. Majors 20, 22 pips, 25 pips, crosses about 25, 27 pips. So, and on a news hit like NFP or any other big data like GDPs or rate interest, or I mean, yeah, rate interest and all. Of course, you do not go your full lot size. You try to less it out to compensate in case you get a lot of whipsaw on the market. But most of the people, they think big, heavy data, it's not for me, cannot trade it. Uh, I'm not encouraging that one should. I'm not encouraging one should, but all I'm saying is that you can still try to pick some points, some finer points far off from where the price is and where the data is about to hit, and be prepared to act when those level comes in. So again, I see, I still haven't seen the numbers yet. So, but I'm looking at the price action. This telling me that there's a reasonable chance out here that we will come close to about 1130. We might just test at 1130 out, and most likely, at least it will try to provoke some bounce. So initially, a buy looks good off from here. Again, I repeat, I haven't seen the numbers yet. And I found had an election yesterday, and let's see. So basically, between here and here, we had a range till the election came in and broke up. So I don't need this. And again, it's the same factor. I've just ignored the spike out there because that was temporary clause out there, and it's been basically holding up to here. So my 400 zone is a support, and to an extent, it came playing into it. did not test it fully, but then getting a bounce back up. So not till it closes underneath here, this pair stays up on the buy side. And if we go on the daily, considering it stays on the higher side, what would be a target on the top side? This pair has been very choppy to this level actually. It would make sense. It's been trading here for a long time. Not a very clear picture, but let's see. Something like this. Again, this pair has been quite choppy out here during these levels. It looks more like a triangle diamond breakout. Sorry, within here. So, but let's see where it closes. If it closes on the higher side, my guess is that this is going on the higher side. This is going on the higher side. Uh, this gap can stay here for a while before it's probably going to come down here and then curve down and come back testing this zone out here. So basically, again, the point being is channel analysis is nothing more than getting to know your channels and have those channels drawn or plotted in such a way that the price actually stays or travels within it. And this is something that is not difficult. It's just that it requires a lot of practice. Okay, well, the data on Canadian also, I want to see how it has done. This is what I mean. It has been pre-drawn again. The concept is the same concept. You look for a channel, you ignore this, I will ignore that. Price came in beautifully, tested it. So I think 2170 test this should be coming in. But we got a good decent bounce. So it's got our first premium target again to 2170. But again, if you look at it, it's a fake move here. There's a fake move here. So basically, we're looking for a breakout on either side. We're looking in for a breakout on the other side. We have already tested this, rejected the price. It still has to make its way back, to 2170. And for argument's sake, if we consider that, it'll break 2170, yeah, this has been pre-drawn. I've been with you folks all this while. I've ignored this, used this, because this close higher retest and a bounce. And this is the second retest. And the best part about the breakouts, people who trade breakouts, they know it's not the break and the price going higher that matters. It's always a retest and then a pushback matters, because a good breakout means we're going to get a new higher than what's been posted towards 2164 or whatever the high been yesterday. We would have a new higher than that. That would mean a good breakout, and then my short-term target would be somewhere around here. So that brings back to 2170. So if you get a close on the higher side, then this breakout is here to stay. That's mean we should be looking for something close to 2300 on that. These are just a plain simple uh, uh, concept. You can say methods that you deploy, and you configure how to go and look for in terms of trade setups, and what to do when those trade setups kick in terms of when the price comes to those levels. So basically, regardless of it being an NFP, regardless of it being anything, when you have a price defined within the trend lines, this is a definition of price being defined. So that's mean either you break down here or you break down on the higher side. But if I throw in a pattern into it, that's mean a breakout. This has been a breakout. This has been a retest, and this has been so far a significant bounce. My guess is that we'll test 2170, and if I throw in more probability clause, then still I do not know what the numbers are. I will look for 2300s, close to 2300 as next prime target. I mean, that would be my mind setup. And again, as I was introduced, I mean, it was mentioned, we are more into intraday traders. What we do is basically got an entry in, first 20 to 40 pips, we try to bank some, as in cash some out, amend our stops, and then try to leave others, if they want to go and run down the maximum distance. For intraday purpose, 2170 would be it. For if I'm looking for a bit on the longer term, then I will look for, day closing above that to gear up for 2300. So maybe come down here, something like this, say we, no, it don't want to write. Okay. Say price breaks, closes on the higher side, goes somewhere around halfway here, comes back, retest, and there's a point that I can look to add back on the longs for 2300 targets. And it's all about channeled. Sometimes they are well proper. This is again, I'm ignoring this. I've ignored this whole thing. I've ignored the spike. I'm more interested in this pattern of trend line, the streamline that's been caused out here, to use that as any retest back, I mean, any follow back of the price has to come back and retest this breakout point. So this becomes my next genuine targets. If we are making a move above 2175, 2180 close, then gear up for that. And this is another older trend line that's been saved up. That's what I do if I find something interesting over over the back, then I just save it. Again, the same concept, the price been channelized, has been stuck out here. I've ignored a few spikes here and there till price broke out, and it just carried on. I think I've got a better layout on the 8 hours. I was telling you something on the gold. While people look for different kind of support, and if you got something that's coming in like that, these are good points for your entries. I mean, I'm not saying they can go all the distance, but I'm saying someone like me, more into intradays, I'm basically sucker for these kind of trend lines. I mean, I have no hesitation going in for that, and probably we're looking for this channel expanding, so that's mean it can still go sideways, 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 with more flow to the lower side till it gets a breakout. I believe this again would be 2170. So 2170 is significant, at least for the day. If anybody has got any question, uh, do let me know. So I'm just looking at the. Sorry, I got lost out there on the webinar. Totally forgot if somebody was asking. Uh, any questions, anybody? All right, continue. I want to go back and track down what we discussed on the euro and how it has done so far. Okay, it's gone back up. What about the dollar? Not so much. I now want to know what the numbers are. Slightly off. But still much better than previous. And dollar. All right. It's a trend line on 30 minutes. And same concept. Price been staying higher and lower. Almost a formation of head and shoulder. We got a head, left, right, coming in at the neckline break. Retest here is a shot. So 36.40 is a shot based on that, and then of course a good shot on a retest means a new low than this. That tells me euro can get on the lower side as compared to Canadian dollar. And anybody has got any? Do let me know if anybody. I told you NFP I never go for, and it's always my, it's been a habit over the past 5-6 years that I try not to look into the numbers of NFP at least for half an hour, 45 minutes till they're already in. Because once you know the number, then your mind plays tricks. At least my mind plays tricks with me. Depending on the number, the market should be doing this, is going counter. But if I stay with my trend line, then I know what I'm looking at. Uh, Sometimes I get into a jam position is because I feel that I carry very small stop losses, but overall direction usually mostly get them right. But that's a trick. That's an art by itself. The harder you make it for yourself, the better it gets because you get a nick for, you know, getting more selective on your trades into picking up the fine prints. And it's not difficult. It's just that you need to make your mindset onto it. Anybody have got any question, or if you want me to do any pair, because regardless of whether I do that pair or not, it does not matter as long as there are interactive charts on that. Uh, you just need to break down price into channels. I mean, that's what trend line analysis is. You break down the price into channels, and those channels, they are like candles. They just light the path for the price to travel. So they are all interconnected. They are all the same thing, no matter how you end up defining them. And the trend lines, concept of trend line is that they need to be streamlined. By streamline, I mean nothing more than uh, it tells you a story. It tells you where the price is staying, where the price wants to get out of it, how to the lower side, to the lower, to the higher side, and then just go with that, regardless of how you feel. Anybody has got any question, or anybody wants me to do any particular repair? I think we started about 10, 15, 10, 12 minutes late, so I can use up another 10 minutes. Not a bad idea. You guys can hear me clearly? Okay. And I hope I wasn't boring anybody out there. Last thing I want is that, someone boring me to death. But it's an educational purpose. Uh, will ask me, and he's a good friend. And if we feel that if this can help anybody out in any way, then it's like I would consider that paying it off forward, because there was a time, long time back, when somebody told me, somebody put me down in the right direction, that instead of going and looking for this, looking for that, you know feel what you're good at, and then just take it up from there forward. And this is how it goes. It's not about being right, it's not about being wrong, it's about being able to project where the price is going and how you're going to react to that. Because you can have a pretty good idea about what's going to happen, what's not going to happen, but sometimes you end up carrying biases, and those biases allow you not to get into a trade. I've just explained to you, these are the trend line that has been placed in well before I was actually plotting some prior to the webinar, for the webinar, because I knew, half an hour into the webinar we'll have an NFP, and I wanted to cover more, but then chatterbox I like to talk, so I go around doing that. But this is the concept. Price was here before it started breaking down. So entries are here, targets are here. Or if you want to go and you would like to sell it, sell orders are here, target are here, till we break to either direction. My bias is on the higher side, but then my guess is as good as yours. So I let the trend line talk about it, and then let them decide what they want to do with the price breaking higher or breaking lower. I just need to gear up basically. I've already have targets, this is my bias out here. I've already got targets based on, if it's breaking on the higher side, what I'm looking for. I don't have targets on the lower side. That's my bias. That's mean I'm biased out here. That I don't want price to come down here, or be rather I feel that the price is going on the higher side. But that's uh, generally speaking, that's a wrong concept. I should have been prepared for both sides. But this is a pair that I don't trade too much. I get more into its crosses. I want to see euro out, because I want to see if it's done. What has it done? It's done absolutely nothing. It's done absolutely nothing. So this NFP has been, at least for crosses, was hoping, because we were actually prepared to go long based on this chart out here. We actually were prepared to go long on this between 40.95 to 4100. We were actually looking for long. Again, based on pattern, the only thing that is worrisome is that this is the breakout, one high, retest, new high, second test, not a new high, almost came back, and now it's gravitating within it. So if it comes to it today or within the next 2-3 days, since it's declining, so my entry will keep on falling. So if it's 4091 today, sorry, 4090s or 4100 today, tomorrow maybe how much is it dropping? 4091, oh, it's quite steep. So it's about dropping about 4 pip every 2 hours. That's 12 candles, almost. That's 50, 60 pips lower. So maybe by tomorrow, I mean by Monday or late Monday, maybe 40, 50, actually not even 40, 50, but 40, 30, or late Monday, maybe 40, 50, actually not even 40, 50, but 40, 30 would be the spot for that. So that's mean it can be declining, but at the same time still be bullish because this is a bullish breakout. Hard it may seem, but I mean that's the way we treat it. Not till you get a close underneath, you know, and if it's getting a constant test, these are my breakouts. So I'm still, I'm still thinking that, but next bounce, if it does not make the, if it does not carry up all the way, then there becomes a higher chance it might not go for a retest here, but somewhere around here, we'll keep this high in and probably, you know, just go in for a drop. Because as of right now, we can consider that almost a double top. Almost a double top. So these are just the concept. And I was actually hoping at least a 41.30, 41, at least a 41.40 test from that. So far it's been disappointing. It came close to it, but then again, the best relief for a technical analyst is that if he deems that he's on the right side, then he needs it to get played out. And since it's a 15-minute chart, I would rather have it done today, not prolong it till tomorrow, considering we had an NFP, which is so far looking at this cross, looks like a non-even. And I want to test out one more to the euro. Has it been declining? So as of right now, this holds and this is still short, and now probably spreads are smoother up and everything. So against this, you can take a small position with a bigger target, which makes up for the trade. I mean, again, I'm not advising anything out here, but I'm just telling you a concept mind of what I would do. What I would do. You got two spikes, but not a close. So when we look at the breakout, it's not the spikes that matter, but it's the actual closes that matter. So as of right now, if I have to judge without knowing the numbers on the NFP, it's been a tussle between not about the other pairs, but pretty much on the dollar by itself, what it wants to do. Seems like it wants to go down at the same time it does not want to go down. So which brings me back to the dollar and see how it is doing. This is a 8 hours spikes. Still, the formation from this angle looks bullish, but I will keep my mouth shut out here because it's still on the NFP term, so I don't want to brag too much about here. So basically, just like what we saw on the euro, ignore this. I'm just, can use, that was just a reference as I told you. One good trend line, then just basically try to follow up. I mean, try to follow it back. So from here to here, anyways. So basically, you can still strike down out here, but then still needs a breakout, either direction. So if I use this, we have a fake up. Overall channel been bearish, so I don't know. I think it's got potential to break out because if not, this is what I call vacuum. This is vacuum. That can kill the dollar. It's a vacuum. It's more clear on the. I mean, I don't need to look and try to guess. What is another good support out here? Because I know I can try it, but that won't hold out too long. This is a drop. This is a drop. So after a very healthy run like that, this is quite decent correction, almost. Not almost, but you know, I will take it at the double top. So this breakout means on the lower side, you can start looking for, you know, euro somewhere around 22, 2300, and on even further up. I don't know. S&P, wow, that's a good breakout. So I know somebody's long on the S&P, a friend of mine, and I know she's watching the webinar, and I think 2115 should be good enough for you. We were discussing, this is exactly what I was telling. People looking at this as support, this is exactly what I was telling earlier. But these, especially the one with the spikes up, they are dangerous. I've seen it again and again. They have got tendency to cover back up most. I mean, should not be a problem. And I'm waiting for Will to come. Generally, when would you enter? Once it hit your trend line and then show. All right. QH answered, when would I enter the trend line? I mean, when would I enter a trade? All right. Best and the safest route is have a test of those trend lines, see if it holds or not. If it holds means, let's say, give you an example, you know, uh, let's take this for instance, just for an argument's sake, right? So you're having this as a resistance has evolved. So let's say,
Hey guys, can I just pause you
what
there
is
for
it?
one moment?
Sure,
Yeah, so
sure.
it's time for us to wrap up here, but I think you guys are all pretty infatuated with Stryker's charting. Stryker, you're welcome to carry on using the facility as long as guys want to hang around. So you can do that. And before I sign off, I just want
Okay.
to just do a quick reminder and just thank you for taking the time out. I know you usually have a very busy schedule for presenting this webinar. Just a reminder to the attendees that we will be arranging regular webinars via purelineforex.com. And as well, just quickly to say thanks to our hosts at Aura FX for providing this facility and allowing these webinars to take place. The next webinar will be held on 20th of May. Details on the website. We have an amazing lineup. We have Trader SZ. Some of you may know him from Twitter. Absolutely amazing trader. We've kind of seen him take a £20,000 account and turn that into £180,000 over the course of 6 months. Right, so he's going to be sharing some of his insights and his methodology at the next presentation. So I leave you guys to it. You can carry on using the facility as long as guys want to stick around and hear you out. And we'll see you all the next time. Thank you, guys.